One of the things that I love about Christmas is it reveals God's ability to turn the ordinary into the miraculous. God is like the art teacher at Palisades. The kids were instructed to collect plastic lids like milk jug lids and juice carton lids. Rather ordinary things, right? Things that we run into nearly every day. And with the teacher's help, they turn those lids into artistic creations that are stunningly beautiful. I dropped my jaw, literally, when I first saw these creations featured at all three elementaries. They had turned the ordinary into the miraculous. God is like my classmates from kindergarten. I had been home from school sick as a dog for over a week. When I returned, it was a wet, sloshy sort of day, so I came bundled up from head to toe. Upon entering the classroom, my classmates rushed over to greet me and welcome me back. One helped take my coat off. Another took my backpack and hung it on its hook. Two others sat me down and took my boots off for me. Going to school is an ordinary thing. But that day became so miraculous that I still remember the feeling from it 25 years later. God is like the cast from Peanuts, who are able to take that completely ordinary or maybe less than ordinary twig that Charlie Brown found and turn it into a full-fledged Christmas tree. When I asked other people for examples of the ordinary becoming miraculous, the first thing everyone said to me was the birth of a baby. And that's what tonight's about. You see, there was a man and a woman. She was pregnant. While visiting family for the holidays, she gave birth to a boy. Being that their family lived in a small town, some of the locals came over to celebrate. The end. Doesn't sound like a particularly unusual story, does it? It's really not that much different from how my niece was born, honestly. Yet the birth of a child is always miraculous. But we're not celebrating tonight because God did what he does in every childbirth, turning the ordinary into miraculous. We're celebrating because in miracles like this one, God gives hope in the midst of hopelessness. God is like little Emily Hershey. Oh, you should have been there while we finished singing our Christmas carols, and she would go up and say Merry Christmas to each of the homebound members that we caroled to, and she would reach out her arms and give them the most special hug. Our hearts melted every time we saw her give that hug. There was joy overflowed in each of us watching her give hugs to all these people. God is like the carolers ourselves. When we entered the Quakertown Center this last week, the staff suddenly lit up and exclaimed, "Can you come sing some carols at worship? They're having worship right now. They don't have a musician to lead them, and they want to be able to sing Christmas carols." Soon and quite unexpectedly, outside of our plans, we found ourselves in worship a second time that Sunday. This time sharing our voices with those who would otherwise not have heard their beloved Christmas songs. God is like the Straw-Snyders, old members of this congregation, who upon recognizing that the world had no place for their son, who had, I believe, Down syndrome, to be a contributing member of society, started a place called Handicrafters. Now thousands of people every month, thousands of differently abled people every month are able to find work in a place that's organized to use their special abilities. God is like my brother-in-law. At my sister's wedding this last October, I was asked to do the meal prayer. I thank God for the wedding, as you will, for the love that Dustin and my sister share, for their future together. And then I found myself thanking God that these two little boys had a daddy again, and a good one at that. someone who loved and cared for them and whom they loved back. I thank God for making my sister's family whole again. And as I did that, I realized that I and everyone else in the room was crying for joy. Because here was hope once more, where life for them 2 years ago had been as hopeless as it could be when my brother-in-law died. Hope for the hopeless. That's what tonight's about. You see, there was a man and a woman. They were going to see his family, but they traveled a lot slower than all the rest of the relatives because she was pregnant. When they arrived, all the rooms had already been claimed. Not just at Grandma's house, but also at Uncle Joe's and at Cousin Bob's. The man and the woman were beginning to think they were going to have to sleep on the street when Aunt Jane came up to them and said they'd made some room in the stable for them to rest. It wasn't much, but it was a place. And it'd be warm, which was a good thing because the labor pains had just begun. And so she gave birth in a barn to a baby boy and laid him upon fresh straw in a manger. Not the best crib in the world, but it would do. And that's all it takes for hope, really. It doesn't take presents under the tree or gifts as extravagant as gold and frankincense and myrrh. It simply takes being provided the basic needs. A hug when I'm alone. A song when I can't sing. A job when I can't work. An answered prayer. A bed when there's no place to sleep. But we're not celebrating tonight because God gave hope to one small family on a cold winter's night. Because in the end, God's not really like the art teacher from Palisades, nor my kindergarten class. God's not really like Emily Hershey or my brother-in-law. Because God's purpose is always bigger than one person or one family. What we're celebrating tonight is God's ability to turn an ordinary moment, to take an ordinary moment in history and turn it into a miracle the whole world benefits from. We're celebrating God's ability to give hope in an instant for the entire world. That's what the angel said, isn't it? I am bringing you good news of great joy for all people. And when this baby was circumcised, the prophet held him and sang, "Now my eyes have seen God's salvation, prepared in the sight of all people, a light for the Gentiles and a beacon for the glory of Israel." We come together tonight, not because God turned the ordinary into the miraculous for one family, nor even because God gave hope to an entire village. We come together tonight because in this moment, in this memory from long ago, we still find the flame of hope burning brightly for us. We don't remember this night as an ordinary moment. We see the miracle at the center of the universe. We don't remember a hopeless family in a barn. We look to this moment as the start of our eternal hope. Because tonight, God is addressing our most basic needs. The need to be loved. The need to have a family. The need to know that our lives matter. The need to know that there is always something more that is worth looking forward to. The need to know that nothing can take away the promise God has given us. The promise born in a little child that says, by the grace of God, each of our ordinary lives are becoming miracles as the hope we have in Christ is being fulfilled in us. Here at the manger, we witness an assurance that our hope is grounded in truth.